This is CBC Here and Now.
Birthright politics.
Conservatives from this province put forward a controversial motion and it was voted in.
I did not make the decision to leave the show.
And this hour no longer has Sean Majumder.
22 Minutes is down a comedian.
Good evening, I'm Anthony Germain.
And I'm Carolyn Stokes.
Also tonight, Liberal MHA Colin Holloway has released a statement saying he's consulting with legal counsel after his claims of harassment were dismissed. Terry Roberts has that story that's coming up just ahead.
But first, Conservative associations for ridings in St. John's and Mount Pearl have sparked controversy across the country.
They voted to support the end of birthright citizenship at the federal party's convention in Halifax on Friday. And it's a move that's now being called racist and xenophobic.
Here now's Ryan Cook joins us live. So Ryan, what do we know about this motion?
Well, for starters, birthright citizenship means that any baby born in Canada is considered a Canadian citizen, regardless of where their parents are from. And for all the noise that this motion made on the weekend, the conservative leaders here in St. John's East have been pretty quiet today. We requested interviews, but were declined. But here's what happened on the weekend.
Addition was put in there?
St. John's East President Mike Stapleton was unable to attend the convention, so he sent VP Patrick Hanlon in his place. Stapleton declined an interview today, but he told CBC News on the weekend that he was surprised the motion came from his association or his VP.
Well, I never discussed it with him because I knew I wasn't going to the convention, right? So I wouldn't be able to comment on it, actually.
If the name Patrick Hanlon rings a bell, it's likely because of his vocal stance against abortion. He's been the leader of Pro-Life NL, a group that protests outside abortion clinics and buys pro-life ads. He also serves as the Conservative Party's Provincial National Policy Committee. Hanlon couldn't be reached today, but on Saturday he said the motion did come from the St. John's East membership. He refused to give his own personal beliefs. St. John's East MP Nick Whalen took to Twitter over the weekend to condemn the motion as racist. He says he runs into people with anti-immigration views every time he goes door knocking. Unlike Stapleton, he says he isn't surprised that this idea came from his district. Now the motion passed, so that means that it will be officially part of the Conservatives' platform in the next election. Leader Andrew Scheer sent out a statement yesterday saying they want to end so-called birth tourism. That's been reported as a problem in British Columbia, a long ways from the federal ridings here in Mount Pearl and St. John's. Reporting live in St. John's East, I'm Ryan Cook.
This hour has 22 minutes. Star Sean Majumder says the decision for him not to return to the show wasn't his. The news broke over the weekend when Majumder was housing his annual event, The Gathering, in his hometown of Burlington. Here now's Jeremy Eaton has been following this story and he joins us now live. So Jeremy, what is Majumder saying?
He says all he wanted to do was make this hour, his 22 minutes, even funnier. Majumder wrote down some ideas to try to make that happen, but those ideas, well, they weren't welcomed with open arms by the company that produces the show.
All I did was write a letter suggesting, how we can make the show better. It wasn't an angry letter. It was a very positive, constructive letter that I wrote. And I guess that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Majumder found out the news earlier this summer. During The Gathering, a party he hosts every year in his hometown of Burlington, he made the news public. DHX Media produces the show out of Halifax for the CBC. Majumder's issue is that there is an awful lot of talent on the 22 Minutes writing staff, and their voices weren't being heard when the final decisions around the sketches were being made.
And I just felt like, we're leaving a lot of funny on the table. There was so many opportunities, and that comes down to the difference between the creative people in terms of the talent with the producers with whom I had this issue with.
On his Facebook page, Majumder let fans of the popular program know he won't be back. Then, overwhelming feedback started pouring in.
First of all, I want to say I'm not dead. People are, there's a lot of wonderful things being said, and like, he will be missed, gone. He's lost from no. This is the entertainment industry.
Majumder offered up praise for his co-stars and every single person who works on the show. Mark Critch posted about Majumder leaving. Critch offered him best wishes, saying he's excited about what he'll be doing next, adding, "I will forever be his Garfunkel."
I love the show, and you know, this is one of those very special shows. But you know, I'm an actor and I'm a creative person, and so I'm going to always be at something, no question about it.
So I reached out to the company that produces the show, DHX Media, but I didn't get a response. A spokesperson for the CBC says the show is going in a different direction. Now, as for Majumdar, he says he's got lots of options and he's currently exploring some ideas with the CBC. Reporting live for Here and Now, I'm Jeremy Eaton in St. John's.
Well, Sean Majumdar had a lot to say in his interview with Jeremy, and we'll bring you that in its entirety in about 10 minutes.
A 45-year-old woman is in serious condition following a single vehicle crash on Witless Bay Line last night. Police say the driver was heading east around 7:30 when her vehicle left the road and rolled over. The road was partially closed while accident investigators were on the scene. It reopened to both lanes of traffic Monday morning.
Police are investigating after these 4 dump trucks were set on fire Friday night in Torbay. The trucks were torched in an area near Edgewater Lane. Local fire crews quickly responded to put out the flames. The Royal Newfoundland Constabulary confirmed to CBC that the fires are considered suspicious and they are investigating.
And Irving is taking over some Ultramar gas stations. Work is underway to convert 36 Ultramars in Atlantic Canada, including this one in St. John's. The cost of buying the pumps wasn't disclosed, but Irving says the renovations should be completed soon. In the meantime, if you're a fan of Ultramar, not all of them will disappear. The province will still have 48 locations, 44 on the island and 4 in Labrador.
The family and friends of a woman who died at Cape Spear on Saturday are still reeling from the sudden tragedy. Kim Hicks was at the historic site with her sister when she fell. In the days since, she's being remembered as a larger-than-life music fan with a deep love for Newfoundland. Kate McGilvery reports.
The accident happened after 6 a.m. on Saturday morning. Hicks was 53, worked as an accountant, and was an avid photographer. She was in visiting from Chicago, showing her sister the places she loved the most in Newfoundland. They were there, taking in the sunrise on the edge of a cliff when tragedy struck. She fell about 150 feet.
Personnel were deployed to the scene. They rappelled over the cliffside, and as stated, the RNC's investigation is ongoing.
Firefighters tell CBC they've seen dozens and dozens of accidents at Cape Spear over the years. They say the ground can be precarious and that people need to follow the signs warning them back from the edges. Parks Canada has declined to comment given the ongoing investigation. But for Kim Hicks's family and friends, the lesson of her life goes far beyond the accident that ended it. Hicks was a music superfan with a particular love for Great Big Sea.
Kim came to hundreds of Great Big Sea shows and stood in the front and sang as loud as she could and danced and gathered everyone around her to do the same. And she was just the life of the party. And you know, for a band like ours that spent so much time trying to create fellowship and fun and help people to forget, you know, the troubles in their lives, Kim Hicks did the job for us. So we came to like her a lot, and she became a good friend of us and of our crew.
On social media, friends have come out of the woodwork to express their sadness. She would travel all around North America to take in concerts and made friends wherever she went.
Kim was the kind of person that if she walked into a room, suddenly she was the center of the room because she just had that kind of personality. There was an exuberance and a magnetism and a zest for life, big booming laugh. I mean, a very, very commanding presence, you know, and good humor, a good heart. And she had a way of connecting people.
Linda Elstad met Hicks in 2006 at a Great Big Sea show. Elstad says Hicks had fallen in love with Newfoundland music and culture and visited the province dozens of times. She says that above all, she'll never forget her warmth or her heart.
Just an absolutely dedicated, loving daughter and a wonderful sister and aunt and just a really big heart. We could all do better to have a heart as big as Kim had.
Kate McGilvery, CBC News, St. John's.
The man charged in the deadly shootings in Fredericton earlier this month has made his first court appearance. It's the first time he's been seen in public since his arrest. Matthew Vincent Raymond is accused of killing 4 people, including 2 police officers. The 48-year-old is facing 4 counts of first-degree murder. About 70 people, including some members of the victims' families, jammed in the courtroom. Raymond's lawyer expects he will plead not guilty to all counts.
The United States and Mexico have agreed to a preliminary bilateral trade agreement. It's a key step towards revamping NAFTA, but so far the deal doesn't include Canada.
Canada will start negotiations shortly. I'll be calling the Prime Minister. We could have a separate deal or we could put it into this deal.
Recent NAFTA talks, which have dragged on now for more than a year, have not included Canada. U.S. officials say they hope Canada will agree to terms by Friday. That's when the White House will formally notify Congress, which must approve the deal. It also triggers a 90-day deadline to sign that deal. Significant issues still need to be resolved, including a dispute resolution and steel tariffs. Canada has said it will only agree to a deal that is good for the country.
Well, a new school year has its own stresses. Moving up a grade, classes are more challenging. Well, one local organization wants to make sure money for school supplies isn't on the list of worries and students can head to class prepared. Here and Now's Ryan Brockerville has more.
A backpack, the essential item for any kid going back to school. But as many parents know, filling it with supplies can be a financial headache. The good news is, these book bags aren't empty.
We're doing our annual back to school program. This year we'll be helping over 300 children go back to school with grade appropriate supplies in a new backpack. These are donated to us, or we have monies that are donated so that we can go out and buy what we need. Without the support from the public, we wouldn't be able to do this on this magnitude.
It may look like the Single Parent Association of Newfoundland has plenty of supplies, but Balsam says there is still work to be done.
Demand has increased. Seems like there's more people having crisis situations, and the employment, is not always great. Layoffs are coming and things like that impact. Single parents only have one source of income, and when that source either disappears or becomes less, then the stresses on that single parent and back to school can be quite expensive.
With demand so high, SPAN is looking for help. There have been a lot of requests, and school supplies are still needed.
Our biggest need this year is the high school. So we're needing backpacks, especially backpacks for the girls. I just heard this morning that funding backpacks for the girls going to high schools is difficult. So that's a need. We have a need for math sets, graph paper, pens too.
But it's not just donations. SPAN is also in need of volunteers.
Volunteers can volunteer anytime from Monday to Friday, from 9 to 1, or in the afternoons from 2 to 4. And they can contact me directly or just call the front desk again, like those numbers. And I would certainly encourage people to volunteer if you're going to give us a couple hours, or you can give us 3 or 4, or you can come for the whole day.
SPAN hopes that by supplying backpacks like these can ease the financial burden for single parents, but they are still in need of donations. Ryan Brockerville, CBC News, St. John's.
I'll be honest, it kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't feel like that was the conversation I was going to have when I had that conversation with the producers.
Sean Majumder is leaving 22 Minutes, and he says it wasn't his decision. Majumder's famous characters won't be returning. Next, we have Jeremy Eaton's interview with him about why he's being dumped. Well, Sean Majumder is speaking out tonight, explaining why he was fired from This Hour Has 22 Minutes. Majumder learned back in June that he wouldn't be returning to the show, and he made news over the weekend by making it official. Here Now's Jeremy Eaton has this interview with Sean Majumder about why he was let go.
Today has been a pretty substantial day of response, and it's really great to see all the love and the support that not only fans across Canada have for 22 Minutes, but also for me, and I really appreciate that. And you know, first of all, I want to say I'm not dead. People are, there's a lot of wonderful things being said, and like, he will be missed, gone, he's lost from, like, no, this is the entertainment industry. And yes, unfortunately, like I said in my statement, I did not make the decision to leave the show, but that is the way entertainment goes, and the show is strong, and the cast is amazing, and the writers are great, and Canada keeps on delivering amazing opportunities for satire, like Justin Trudeau going to India and dressing up like Aladdin. With a show that's been on for so long, I think sometimes we can, and I am guilty of it when I was on the show, and I think basically you can kind of rest on the fact that our show is good. And what was starting to happen for me personally was I really wanted the show to kind of push the boundaries a little more and to take more risks. And, and they did a lot. But I felt like we were kind of resting with the fact that we've got our core audience. They will never leave us. And we don't really need to do much other than really just stay the course. And so specifically, it was about the fact that we have a cast of some of the funniest people in Canada, no holds barred. We have like the greatest writers. And I feel like the way that the show was being made is we weren't including those voices as much in terms of the final decisions when it came to what gets in the show, how the sketches were made. And I just felt like, we're leaving a lot of funny on the table. There was so many opportunities, and that comes down to the difference between the creative people in terms of the talent with the producers with whom I had this issue with. And it wasn't, there was nothing really, really bad about it. It was just, I felt that our show could be even better. And by including the cast and including the writers a lot more, making it more of a collaborative effort when it came to the final say and a lot of the things, that would make the show better. And I think they felt like maybe the show, that was more of a power play on my part or something. I mean, I'll be honest, it kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't feel like that was the conversation I was going to have when I had that conversation with the producers. And I'll be honest, I kind of felt like Becca from Bachelorette last year when she sat down with Ari. I was like, wait, what? You're breaking up with me? No. All I did was write a letter suggesting, how we can make the show better. It wasn't an angry letter. It was a very positive, constructive letter that I wrote. And I guess that was the straw that broke the camel's back. The family at 22 is what I'm going to miss the most. Everything from the research and, all the wardrobe people, the hair and makeup people, from the finance people, all the way to the set deck guys and girls. And so to me, going to work every day and hanging out with those amazing people, and also, of course, collaborating with the cast, and we have the best cast in TV. And, I really enjoyed working with, of course, Mark, and he's a good buddy, and Susan, who I love so much, and Kathy and Trent, and Meredith, and anybody new who's going to come in, because this show should last forever, no doubt about it. I love the show, and this is one of those very special shows. But I'm an actor, and I'm a creative person, and so I'm going to always be at something, no question about it.
So you get these really cool but eerie shaped trees that aren't quite normal, but it's because of all the years of moose browsing.
Terra Nova boxes out the moose to protect its trees.
And the reports are in. Terry Roberts will have new details on the harassment scandal that rocked the provincial government in April.
Update is brought to you by Take Charge Business Efficiency Program. Over 570 businesses have saved energy and taken charge of their bottom line. Find out how you can too.
Well, I'm almost afraid to ask you when all of this heat is going to end.
Well, we have a few days of it, but then it looks like later in the week we could get a bit of a cool down.
Okay, we'll get to that in a bit.
Thursday-ish.
We'll get to that in a bit, but first, over the weekend, great weather for fishing. And take a look at this.
It is a shark. Lord Jesus, look.
Yep.
Grace Shears was out fishing by Kitty Bitty yesterday when she snagged this shark.
And luckily, Jaws didn't have to be brought aboard. Always kind of dangerous. It manages to free itself. Paff, did you hear that? Even got me hook back.
I got a video.
It's always good when you get the hook back.
There's a shark. Lord Jesus, look.
Yes. It certainly is a shark.
Redeemer.
He's red. He's coming up.
Yeah, don't point too closely to the shark. Anyway, it's always nice to see when they free themselves instead of having to be gaffed or having the hook taken out a difficult way, but remarkable day out in the water.
Happy ending, I guess.
Yep.
All right, so let's have a look at the weather, starting with the highs today. Yet another day in paradise on the island. 23 degrees as the high in St. John's, but felt a lot warmer than that with the humidex. Central areas, of course, had another warm day, another one coming tomorrow. Badger got up to 27 degrees, but as I mentioned, there is a bit of a cool down coming later in the week. So we do have some showers affecting the island tonight, both the west coast and the east, and Labrador looking at some showers overnight tonight as well. But overall, it's kind of a quiet day weather-wise. Not a whole lot on the go. We do have this system moving in for western Labrador later tomorrow. But for tonight, these are the temperatures that we're looking at. The overnight lows on the island still pretty warm, between 15 and 16 degrees overnight tonight. A chance of showers in the east, a chance of showers in the west. Cooler temperatures in Labrador, getting down to about 12 degrees in Happy Valley, Goose Bay. So tomorrow morning when you walk out your door, if you're in St. John's, we could still see a few little showers tomorrow morning if you're going out for a run or something like that. It might be a little bit wet, but that will clear off throughout the day. Looking at a nice start to the day temperature-wise, 17 degrees. Fairly warm for the rest of the island as well. And those showers getting underway for western Labrador tomorrow morning. You can see them coming through. Now, northern Labrador will get the bulk of the rain associated with that. And on the island, yeah, things start to clear off nicely throughout the day. We're looking at another hot one, 25 degrees in St. John's. Cooler along the coast. Humidex still pretty high, 29 degrees there for central areas. Humidex of 30. So tomorrow will be very similar to today, actually, and winds pretty light, southwesterly winds 20 kilometers an hour. Some hot temperatures on the west coast as well, with a mix of sun and cloud. For the Straits, some cloudy skies for the Lansalou area, 18 degrees, so a little bit cooler in that spot, but Mary's Harbour getting up to 25 degrees. And for the rest of Labrador, Happy Valley Goose Bay is looking at a pretty high humidex tomorrow, actually 28 as a humidex, so 2 millimeters of rain expected there. Western Labrador could get about 5 millimeters of rain, and Nain will get the bulk of that, and Makkovik 5 to 10 millimeters of rain. So yes, a little bit later I will get into that bit of a cool down that's coming on Thursday. Anthony?
Thanks, Carolyn. Terra Nova National Park has put up hundreds of meters of fencing because of moose, and it's not to protect humans, it's to save balsam fir trees. The fence went up this summer as part of a plan to rebuild forests inside the park. Here Now's Garrett Barry visited this moose exclosure and has this report.
Basically, there's too many moose and they're doing too much eating. In the winter, moose will eat hardwoods and balsam fir once all these other nice lush green plants are gone. And that's when the damage really happens in the winter. So they'll target those plants. They'll eat about 20 kilograms of vegetation a day. So you can imagine each moose eating that much vegetation in the park. So they can do quite a lot of damage. Yeah, so this is a good example of a balsam fir that's been browsed heavily by moose over a number of years. So each time this poor little fir tries to shoot up a new branch, in the winter time, moose will come along and just browse it back down. It's okay now, buddy. You're gonna be okay. This little tiny tree is probably 20 to 25 years old. We're planting about 7,000 balsam fir saplings. If we can give balsam fir a jump start and get them past all those other things, enclose them inside of a structure that keeps moose out, we can eventually restore balsam fir forest. We had installed about 1,200 meters of fencing, and the fencing actually encloses an area that's about 8 hectares. Yeah, I think our hope is that within 20 to 25 years we're going to start to see some higher trees inside, some taller trees inside, that will start eventually producing cones and seeds. And then hopefully those cones and seeds and the seed rain will start to move outside of the exclosure, and we'll start to seed in areas that are adjacent to the exclosure as well as areas inside. And that's it. It's one of the most rewarding things I can possibly do in this park. because you know that with each tree that you plant, there's a potential for a habitat for a bird, or a place for another nest. And overall, it's one of the most concrete examples of how we can restore ecosystems.
Well, to politics now and the latest developments in the House of Assembly harassment allegations. Terra Nova MHA Colin Holloway has released a statement saying that he's looking into legal counsel after his complaint of harassment by 2 Liberal colleagues was dismissed.
CBC News has obtained copies of 2 reports into allegations of harassment by Liberal MHAs Eddie Joyce and Dale Kirby. Here Now's Terry Roberts joins us live. So Terry, you just got the report as we were going to air tonight, and you've had a few minutes to digest it. What do you see there?
Yeah, well, here they are, the Kirby report and the Joyce report, they're called. And they're good news for the 2 men at the center of this, Dale Kirby and Eddie Joyce. The Commissioner of Legislative Standards, that's Bruce Chalk, he's ruled that Joyce and Kirby did not violate the Members' Code of Conduct in relation to a complaint by fellow MHA Colin Holloway. Holloway filed formal complaints with the Commissioner in May alleging a pattern of harassment and intimidation by Joyce and Kirby. Now, relating to debate, this all related to debate inside caucus over issues such as the MHA pension plan, the election of a Speaker of the House, and even Holloway's ability to work on behalf of his constituents. Holloway was not completely on side with government on some issues and says he was subjected to intense pressure and even told he should get out if he could not be a team player. Holloway says he was even subjected to profanity by Eddie Joyce. Now, first to the Joyce report. The report found that some comments by Joyce would be objectionable and offensive in any workplace, including the House of Assembly. Now, here's a relevant quote. That said, I also find that the comments were made at the tail end of a positive and supportive working relationship between MHA Joyce and MHA Holloway, and MHA Holloway did not deny that he too used similar language with MHA Joyce. As such, I do not believe that MHA Joyce knew or ought to have known that his comments were unwelcome by MHA Holloway. There is no suggestion that the comments persisted after MHA Holloway first raised his complaint about MHA Joyce. As such, I do not believe that MHA Joyce harassed Holloway in making these comments. Now, the report also found that Joyce did not harass Holloway by calling him to discuss an upcoming vote for Speaker of the House of Assembly. Now, here's another relevant quote there you might find interesting. It says, I find that such calls were part of the normal course leading up to the Speaker vote, and I do not find the calls were objectionable or offensive. Now, although there is no contravention of the Members' Code of Conduct, Joyce acknowledged that he would refrain from using profanity in his interactions with Holloway going forward. Now, as for the Kirby report, it stated, I do not believe that my findings indicate unethical political practices or unlawful behavior by MHA Kirby that would undermine the trust or bring discredit to his office. So obviously, again, good news for Kirby in that report. Now, I spoke with Colin Holloway today, and he says he's very disappointed by these reports and says he expects to have more to say on Tuesday. Now, Eddie Joyce, he would not do an interview with us today, saying he is not happy with how the CBC has covered this controversy, and I was also unable to connect with Dale Kirby. Tried both of his phone numbers and got a message on both saying that both numbers were no longer in service. By the way, now Eddie Joyce is not out of the woods just yet. Liberal Cabinet Minister Sherry Gambin-Walsh has also lodged a complaint against him. She told me today that investigation is still ongoing, and she continues to work with her lawyer on the matter. And there's still one more MHA, PC MHA Tracy Perry. She's also filed a complaint, and I was unable to reach her today. So what's next? Well, all these reports relating to this controversy, they're going to be tabled in the House of Assembly sometime this fall, and so it's still a while yet before we know the political fate of Eddie Joyce and Dale Kirby, both of whom have been on personal leave for several months now. Reporting live for Here and Now, I'm Terry Roberts in St. John's.
Everybody's getting ready to get back to school, and the English School District has a change. No more midterms for 38 schools. Details up next. Welcome back to Here and Now. A lot of parents and students excited because it's almost back to school time. An interesting project in the English School District, and Lucy Warren is here to tell me a bit about that. So, no midterms for 38 schools? What's going on?
Yes, Anthony, we have a pilot project whereby 38 schools have voluntarily signed up to be part of a no mid-year pilot.
So the idea is that there won't be any midterms at all in these schools? I mean, midterms seem to be something that we've been writing as students for ages. Why? What's the rationale?
So we're pursuing the question of whether or not midterms have an overall impact on student achievement. Of course, we spend significant time preparing for them in January, and then we have a week dedicated to their administration. If we have snow days, it ends up being additional days. So we're trying to determine if using that time can be used more or better for student instructional time and for student learning.
When you talk about student achievement, you're actually sort of talking about their performance and how they're doing. Is the thinking behind this that for some students these are extremely stressful?
And that may be the case, that it would be. Of course, for any of us in those situations, stress is a natural part of life. And many things we do in school could be stressful, but that's not the impetus for the project. The project is really to determine if there are better ways that we can assess and support student learning.
All right, now a big part of midterms, of course, is a teacher administering a test to see, okay, does this kid actually get what I'm teaching? So how is a teacher going to know? What are the other ways they will determine what a student does or doesn't know?
So we're going to ask teachers to engage in more formative types of assessment. So really they're going to be there's checks along the way. We'll still have tests and quizzes, by the way, all throughout the year, but we'll ask teachers to engage in other types of assessment projects that allow students to demonstrate what they know in other ways, in addition to tests and quizzes, which they already do.
Right.
So we'll do more of other types, and of course it better meets the diverse needs of students.
Yeah, and I guess some students, I mean, speaking personally, I was good at projects, not so good on examinations, and everybody has their different strengths and weaknesses. I guess there'd be a lot of flexibility for teachers to decide how they're going to replace these midterms?
Well, as we leave it to teachers' professional judgment to determine what it is, how they're going to assess students. So every teacher will have so many tests, so many projects. There'll be speaking, there'll be listening projects, there'll be demonstration items. So teachers will just do more of those. But the end goal is that we will determine that students have learned what we're teaching them. So there's other ways other than tests to do that. But of course, tests is part of an overall balanced assessment approach.
Now, you may recall, Lucy, there was a bit of controversy a while back when the school district decided to have what people called a no-zero policy. A lot of parents sort of spoke out saying, real life means pressure and tests and you got to get your work in. Any concern that some parents might think, well, what do you mean you're doing away with tests? You need to have tests, you need to have pressure, because that's what you're going to face when you get out there.
And we will have tests. And we will continue to have tests. And of course, the goal is that we want to know if students are learning, and we want to be able to respond. If they aren't learning, then what do we do to ensure they do learn? So there will still be tests, but there'll be more of other types of assessment for students to demonstrate what they know. As you said, you like doing projects.
Right. Final question for you. So you're going to unleash this project, 38 schools. How long does it run? And can schools opt out if they say, it's not working?
They can. It is a pilot project, so it's by invitation. And of course, schools can opt in, or if it didn't work for them, then they'll say it worked better with the midterms. Then we'll look for that feedback from them, and they don't have to stay with the pilot project. We just want to gather the data from a group of schools over a 3-year period, so we can answer the question that we started out to.
A judge freezes some of the winnings in a Chase the Ace jacket last month in Nova Scotia, all because of a family feud and lawsuit. Okay, so where do you want to start? With heat that's dissipating? Another shark?
It's so sad, isn't it? But we had a great run.
Oh, yeah,
we had a great run, and it still could come back. We look like there could be some rebounding, but I wanted to start actually with current temperatures across Canada. Just have a look at this. So it's 20 degrees still in St. John's right now. Some hot temperatures in Montreal and Toronto, but check out Calgary and Fort Mac. If you have any relatives out there, they have a bit of a chilly day happening for sure. So you can kind of rub it in that we have 20 degrees here and you only have 12 degrees. So for tonight, we do have a few light showers pushing through the province. The island, the west coast, looking at some showers. The east could see some showers as well. Mainly cloudy for central areas and as well for Labrador overnight tonight. And then tomorrow, some heavier rain moving in from west, traveling east. Nain will really be the place that will get the bulk of that rain tomorrow. So temperatures still looking fantastic on the island, 25 degrees in the east and with a 30 humidex. So it's going to be a nice warm one again tomorrow. And temperatures just great right across the island, 26 in central areas, 23 in Corner Brook, and some nice light winds as well. So Nain is looking at about 5 to 10 millimeters of rain tomorrow. Cartwright could see a little bit of that, 20 degrees there, but a big difference in the temperatures between Nain and Happy Valley Goose Bay. And the humidex in Happy Valley Goose Bay is going to be quite warm tomorrow as well, around 28. So should be pretty nice. So as we get into Tuesday night, into Wednesday, you can see this rain is coming through. Another round, mostly for Labrador, the west coast, getting some of that as well. So it looks like it could end up being a fairly heavy bit of rain, but we're looking at some cooler temperatures, 16 degrees in the east for Labrador, but things are staying warm on the island. The east looking at 23 degrees with a chance of showers, and 26 in central with some showers. So Wednesday evening into Thursday morning, this is when things are really going to take a turn, because we have this system coming through, going to bring some rain to the island as well as some cooler temperatures. So this is what we're looking at for Thursday, 14 degrees in the east, 13 in central. So yeah, things are going to cool down quite a bit, but you know, some much needed rain for the garden and the flowers. For Labrador, chance of showers there, and temperatures on the cool side as well. So yeah, we're in for a bit of a stretch of some wet weather, but it's looking so far that things could clear off on Saturday. Some cooler overnight lows as well. You can see here 6 degrees on Friday night. So that's going to be a bit of a cool one, but hopefully temperatures will rebound as we head into the weekend. Thursday, Friday looking on the cool side, but 22 degrees for central areas on Saturday, and Saturday not looking too bad as well for western Newfoundland. For Labrador, a stretch of wet weather, 25 degrees on Saturday, so hopefully that will hold true. And for western Labrador as well, looking at some sun and cloud as you head into the weekend, and temperatures around 20 degrees. That's your forecast. Anthony, back to you.
Well, striking gold in a Chase the Ace contest should be a cause for celebration, but one jackpot of more than $1 million ignited a bitter family feud. A pile of money can sometimes bring out the worst in people. Today, a Nova Scotia judge decided that half of the winnings must stay in legal limbo, at least for the time being. Brett Ruskin has more now from Halifax.
Well, a judge here in Nova Scotia has issued the first ruling in what will be likely a lengthy family feud all around the Chase the Ace contest that took place last month in Marguerite, Cape Breton. So a judge today said that there should be a preservation order on $600,000 worth of winnings for one of the family members who split the $1.2 million jackpot in last month's big prize up in Cape Breton. So the background story behind this, Barbara Riddick is the aunt of Tyrone McGuinness, and they ended up splitting these winnings even though Barbara thought that she was going to take the whole thing because she had asked her nephew to purchase tickets on her behalf, but he ended up writing both their names on the ticket. Here she was reacting to the news when she heard that she'd have to split the winnings.
I put his name on the thing. I told him for good luck. Now he's lying. But I'm taking it to court. I'm serious. I'm getting a lawyer tomorrow.
Whose name was on the ticket?
Me and Tyrone.
You and Tyrone's ticket?
I put his name on the ticket for good luck.
Why did you do that?
Because he's like a son to me. He was.
And so again, the family feud is still ongoing, and as of right now, the winnings that the nephew won are on hold while the court process continues. Brett Ruskin, CBC News, Halifax.
Hundreds of wildfires are still burning across British Columbia. At the same time, victims of massive fires from last year are still waiting to rebuild and get back into their homes and farms. Anita Bath has their story.
Esther Spy has been living in this hotel room for more than a year.
Can't go nowhere. You just go around one circle to the bathroom, back, sit down, watch TV.
Last summer, wildfire destroyed everything she owned on the Ashcroft Reserve. As she waits for a new home, the isolation is getting to her. She hitchhikes most days just to leave the hotel.
I want to be home. I want to be on my reserve. And I want to have freedom for my pets.
But it's not unusual for Canadian wildfire victims to wait this long.
Can you imagine being in a hotel a year later?
Insurance often falls short of what's needed.
If the house cost $300,000 to build, insurance came in at probably a third of that. So we had to look for financing to fill that gap.
Slowly, houses are going up. Spy will get the first one finished.
I even have a garage. I have to buy a car now so I can park it in there. Either that or I'm just going to make a girl cave out of it.
Down the road, it's slow moving for the owners of this cattle farm. Knowing their property was doomed, they spent 3 days straight trying to save the animals before flames arrived. 1 year later, and there's still no room for cattle that used to live at this part of the farm. As you can see, strides have been made with construction coming along, but the rebuild still has a long way to go. Across the street, an eerie scene at the Boston Flats trailer park. Remnants of destroyed homes poke through the green grass. Residents returned to look a few weeks back. It's given them perspective and words of wisdom for this year's victims.
Just have patience and everything will come.
Still, it's not easy after all this time.
Big lump comes in your throat, and I don't want to go back there. It's just way too many bad memories now.
Memories that are triggered this year as they watch as more homes are destroyed in new wildfires. Anita Bath, CBC News, Ashcroft.
United Nations investigators want Myanmar military leaders prosecuted for genocide against the Rohingya, the country's ethnic Muslim minority.
We saw happen in Rakhine as a whole would not have happened without it firstly being within the knowledge of the senior military leadership and secondly under their effective control.
700,000 Rohingya were driven from their homes last summer, and at least 10,000 are estimated to have been killed. UN investigators want the case referred to the International Criminal Court. However, Myanmar's government has ruled out any cooperation with the court. Well, Canada's homegrown tech firms say they've been shut out of a multi-million-dollar project aimed at consolidating the federal government's data operations. They say Ottawa's strict conditions give giant U.S. corporations a huge advantage. Dean Beebe has more from Ottawa.
The multi-million-dollar contract is to help relocate hundreds of Ottawa servers to a handful of modern data centers. The lucrative work is complex and will take years. Ottawa's IT agency, Shared Services Canada, sent out a notice this month about the opportunity. And it attached one big condition that has ticked off Canada's homegrown tech firms. All bidders must have completed similar work worth at least $50 million over the last 5 years. The Council of Canadian Innovators, representing about 75 homegrown firms, says that effectively shuts out the entire domestic tech industry. They say Canada will never grow its own Microsofts and Googles unless Ottawa starts giving them a hand up. In the meantime, they say, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau promotes tech giants such as Amazon at splashy news conferences. A spokesperson for Shared Services Canada defends the condition placed on the contract. She says the work is complex, requires experience, and Canada's tech firms can always partner with IT giants. Dean Beebe, CBC News, Ottawa.
Here's a look at today's viewer photo of the day. A beautiful scene. There is a hint in this photo that is a dead giveaway for where this was taken.
Oh, wow.
See, it's in the distance.
That makes me even more stupid when I get it wrong.
You need to squint to see it. right on the horizon there.
I'm working on it.
Yep, I'll have the answer after the break. Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, yesterday, the St. John's Farmers Market was home to a festival celebrating all things vegetable. St. John's has sprouted a lot of vegans and vegetarians in the last number of years, and they've grown their own festival, Veg Fest.
Nice outfit. What was once a collection of vegan food options took over the new St. John's Farmers Market space where we were last week. More than 50 vendors and organizations participated in the third Veg Fest.
We felt like the vegan vegetarian community in St. John's just got big enough for a festival. So we wanted to bring everyone together in one place. We wanted to set it up so that people could go around all the different vendors, not have to ask about ingredients. They could just go and buy things, know that it's all vegan, and enjoy it.
We have here Just Like Us, and this is to do with dairy. And we also have, chickens. And what all these say is animals have feelings. They feel pain and fear and joy, just like all of us.
We've just recently gone vegan in the past year, so we wanted to see what Newfoundland has to offer us. We've seen a lot of different dessert places and a lot of handcrafted body products and a lot of different food vendors and stuff.
Quite the crowd.
Yeah, not bad.
Canada's team at the Little League World Series has made the final stop on what's really been a dream summer tour, and this was a last tip of the cap for the Wally Major All-Stars from British Columbia.
Great to see the kids from Wally, BC, who did so well at the Little League World Series in Williamsport. They're being honored right now.
The team was recognized ahead of the Blue Jays game yesterday in Toronto, fresh off their success in the Little League World Series. They made it to the quarterfinals before losing to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, it was a tough loss for them.
Yeah.
But they made it really far and everyone was cheering for them. So, hey.
Congratulations.
Next one.
Yeah. All right, so look at our viewer photo of the day. And yes, I did mention before the break that there is a hint in this, right in the distance, and that is the Fogo Island Inn. You can see just right there.
Maybe you can see it. That magnifying glass that comes with the Oxford Dictionary behind you right now.
I thought it was a good clue.
Not bad.
But thank you very much
shot.
to David Hiscock for sending that photo in. It's lovely.
Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night, everyone.